The world unfolds differently for each of us. Why? Where do the rules come from? Within each of us, there is a unique philosophy shaping our thoughts, beliefs, feelings, worldviews, and actions. This is Inner Dialogues with Ecem, an introspective space for curious souls and minds. This is where you get to understand your individual philosophy that writes the script of your life. This is where we unveil the inner wisdom that guides you. Yep, that was your inner sage knocking the door. Let's go and chat with him. Hi, it's Ecem. Today I want to talk about self-sabotage. I don't know what comes to your mind when you hear the word self-sabotage or what kind of different meanings it has for you. When I think about the word self-sabotage, it comes with the concept of being perfect, being enough. Being enough in a way that's almost losing time and energy in the preparation phase to be enough, to be perfect enough to start doing something. It's an interesting concept when you think about perfectionism and self-sabotage in the same basket, but when you think about the definition of self-sabotage, it means that it's doing or not doing something that prevents your success or your progress or the achievement of that goal of yours. So when you think about it in the concept of perfectionism or with the concept of perfectionism, you are doing something, you are doing things to get you prepared, to get you to take action. But at the same time, you're not starting doing them. You are spending time improving yourself, have the greatest resources, getting equipped in order to, when you start doing the actual thing, you will be perfect. You will be the master. So it comes from an egoistical point, I think, as well, because your ego wants you to be either the worst or the best. So ego excludes the middle option. The middle of option, which basically means progress, which basically means trusting the process, constant growth, dedication to development. Or we can think it in a different way. Maybe the surface level aim is not to be the best, is not to be the master of what we are doing, what we'll be doing as a result of all the preparation that we spend in the process of preparation to start something. Maybe it is about lack of confidence in actually start doing something. So maybe the reason is they are covering their lack of confidence, lack of self-confidence by preparing too much, by digging deeper, but not moving forward. One of my dearest coaches, gave me this metaphor that when we dig too much deep, constantly searching for answers, preparing for something, constantly digging, try to right now visualize when I'm telling these words. You're on ascent, okay? You're walking on a beach and you start digging. You're digging it. And there is no below, like there is nothing at the end. So you keep digging it. And at some point it gets so deep that you have to go inside of that big hole, big pit almost, because you have to dig deeper. And you realize at some point that you dug so much deep that when you look up, you are inside of that pit. You are inside of that hole. And there is no way, there's no ladder, there is nothing that can take you up, that can take you sand level, the level of the sand, where you can dig more holes, more pits. So you're stuck. You can see the sky. You can hear the voices, the voice of the waves, the voice of the sea, but you cannot climb up there, So you dug deeper. You did the great work. You did the self-work. You know your reasons now. You have your preparations with you now, but there is no area, there is no arena to act on them, to live them, to experience them. So I think this is what self-sabotage looks like, combined with perfectionism. We want to be so perfect. We want to be the best. And we want to, or maybe we are lacking confidence and we want to cover this by digging deeper, by doing the self-work. Doing the self-inner work is great. But what is your reasons for it? What is your driving force behind it? Dedication to self-development. Great. Go for it. But what are you covering up? What are you escaping from while doing the constant work of self-inner work? If you are escaping to move forward because you're not okay with being average, whatever that average means. Not the best, not the lowest, but average. Or maybe the lowest, maybe the worst, whatever that worst means for you. So you're not okay by starting something on an average level and learning on it, building up on it. You are not prepared for this, and you want to cover this place of yours by preparing too much before starting something. So you always get stuck with taking action. Isn't this self-sabotage? You are improving. You really are. You're doing the self-work. You have more awareness than you had the previous day, the month ago. You are improving. You have better relationships, maybe. You have a better relationship with yourself. You have a healthier mindset. But you are at the bottom of that hole because you dug deeper instead of moving forward. So how would it look like if you were to dig average depth of holes? So they don't have to be the deepest. You don't have to reach the deepest level. So what about digging average heights of holes, which can make you move forward? So every step You will take time to reflect. You will take time to prepare for your next step. You will take time to do the self-work, but you're also moving forward. So, what is the antidote then? What's the midpoint? What's the balance between moving forward versus doing the enough work, doing the enough self-inner work? Well, I don't have a direct answer for you, but here's a fact about me. I'm an incubator. Do you have any idea what that means? I didn't have any idea. I didn't have any idea before I learned that this thing had a name. And what I mean by this thing is the phase where you spend time to getting prepared for something. When you ponder and reflect, when you take too much time, when you take too much resources in your hands to go through them, to prepare an assignment, to prepare your paper, whatever that you're doing, is you are trying to absorb all the resources out there before actually writing it, before actually creating something, before actually taking the action of doing it, before actually giving it to the life, like birth it, giving a birth to it. So the incubator, as we all know, it means the enclosed apparatus, right, in which the small babies are placed, and in which it provides a controlled protective environment for their growing and care. What does to incubate means? It's to when you think of a bird, they sit on top of their eggs in order to keep them warm and so that they can bring them to hatching. So it's a great process when you think from a natural and medical point of view, right? The being an incubator, to incubate something. So you give enough time to simmer, to think about it, simmering the idea, let it rest, ponder about it, reflect about it, feeding it with necessary resources, feeding with opposing views. But the baby cannot stay there until they're 3 years old, until they're a year old, until they're 7 months old. Birds cannot stay there until they learn to fly. They have to crack their egg. And once they crack it, once they see the light, the mom bird has to stand up. Because the warm, protective environment has to end at some point so that it can meet with the light, it can meet with the life, and let the life simmer the idea, let the life give it a life to that idea, to that soul. So what I did differently against my nature, against my learned behaviors, again my coping mechanisms, maybe that against my side of incubator, as I'm recording this podcast, is that I don't have a script. I don't have a list of points that I will talk about. The only thing I had, the topic. And I had the topic as I sit on my chair and start to think about what I should talk about. And the third topic that came to my mind was self-sabotage. Following a conversation I had with a client of mine yesterday. So I have a piece of paper in front of me with the title of self-sabotage, but it has nothing on it. It has nothing. But that incubator didn't leave me alone, so what I did was, as I was recording this podcast, I stopped, go back and listened, trying to extract some kind of an outline so that I can put it in order. Because why I was doing all this stuff was that I was trying to cover up my incubator side. I was trying to feed that side of me. I'm not good enough. I am not perfect enough. I am not the best podcast host or speaker, whatever it is called, out there. There are great examples. I listen them, I watch them, I see them. I am not one of them, but what my incubator side pushed me to do, was going to push me to do, was to get a full script, get a full talking points, read it word by word, not get confused with your words. If I were to spend enough time in the preparation phase for recording this podcast, my incubator side would be happy. It would be the happiest. I would be the happiest. I'm not someone different compared to my incubator side. But I am not my incubator side. I am not an incubator. Having this characteristic, having this aspect does not mean that I am that. It's just a part of me. But I can work with that part, and I chose to work with it today as I was recording this podcast. I could have spent hours getting prepared for this podcast. But I didn't. I sat, thought about the topic, had no idea, had no clue for any topic ideas. I trusted. I trust the process. It came to me. And when it came to me, I let it flow. Not try to create a safe, sound, warm environment where I can protect, where I can grow in a controlled mechanism in order to have the best podcast episode. So I'm sending you love from my conscious incubator side to your conscious incubator sides. Be aware and take action. And spend less time in the preparation. You don't have to be perfect. You are already enough. You are already perfect by doing nothing. So by doing extra, by trying to read everything, by trying to writing pages before actually start doing the actual thing, stop there. Challenge yourself. Challenge yourself to go do the thing itself. Maybe with no preparation at all. Maybe a minor preparation. Trust yourself. If you felt a call to do something, if an idea visited your mind, you have enough base, you have enough foundation to work on it, to make it a reality. Again, not full reality, not the full picture of it all at once. Beginning of it. So don't sabotage yourself. Don't sabotage yourself by doing too much and not ending up actually doing the actual thing, doing the actual work. That's it for today. Have a great day or night. I'll see you in the next episode.